business, to economy, to politics, to technology. And that's all we do here on Newspunch, from the beginning to the end. And that is why we are here. Keep watching Newspunch from Ben Television. And today, bye.
Peace in Zamfara.
Our state has been going through years of bloodletting, of people getting killed, and their lives don't seem to register, don't seem to matter. We've seen people talk about killings that happen in other parts of the country, but because the people of Zamfara are sort of in the fringes of the consciousness of Nigerians, nobody's been talking about the fact that they've been killed. In addition, the conflict is not binary. It doesn't pitch Muslim against Christian or North against the South. So the Nigerian media is not interested. You know, this is a conflict of Muslims versus Muslims, so they don't give a damn. And people keep getting killed. Virtually every day, 50, 60 people get killed, and nobody seems to care. So we decided it is time we talk about these killings in the same way that we've protested other killings in other parts of the country. The people of Zamfara are human beings and they deserve a voice. That's why we're here. I think there's a lot of incompetence, to be honest, when it comes to the security apparatus in this government. But it also seems that attention is only paid to noisemakers. You know, people who just go about doing their business don't seem to get any attention. The people of Zamfara have supported the government of Muhammadu Buhari from his first coming and also the second election. They deserve much better from him. They've supported him. It is time that he shows support for them. Well, first of all, we think we have a useless governor. Thankfully, he's on his way out. The second thing is that maybe we need to reach a stage where the president should go to Parliament and ask for permission to declare a state of emergency. Because clearly the way things are now, things are not working out. People are dying every day. We can't go to our homes. I am from Zamfara and I haven't been home in almost a year because people will come to your house and carry you and kidnap you. Nowhere is safe, including the capital city. So this is not acceptable. We are citizens, we also deserve to be safe, the way everybody is safe in their homes. And that is why people come out and elect a government. The first responsibility of a government is to secure its citizens. If you don't secure your citizens, it doesn't really matter how much trader money you give people in the market, you have failed. So let's be clear about this. President Muhammadu Buhari has a responsibility to secure Nigeria. And the people of Zamfara are among the biggest victims right now of the failures of security. There are more deaths in Zamfara than you find in Borno, which is at war. It's not acceptable. It's time to wake up. If the current security apparatus cannot do the job, it's time to overhaul it. He should sack his security chiefs because they are failing. They're not doing their job. It's that simple.
Just 4 days ago, one of my cousins, on his way back from Gusau to Dansado, he was attacked. In fact, 3 of them were shot, but lucky us, none of them was killed or injured. So on daily basis, our neighbors, our people in the village have been kidnapped. So we're made to pay ransom. Like last week, 5 of my relatives were kidnapped. We had to pay ransom of 1,250,000 naira. And for the past 5 years, we've been paying this. No month will pass by without somebody from the village will call you that, please, we need assistance. Pay a certain amount of money. Let us pay ransom for our relatives or neighbors or any person that has been kidnapped.
I must say that after retirement, I'm seeing Zamfara State in a very, very difficult situation. In fact, it's almost an impossible situation, whereby almost every day people are massacred, houses are burnt, shops are burnt, cars are burnt, and people are kidnapped. And I think these are really too much. And I'm taking this opportunity, and I thank you very much. I joined this group that at least bring to the attention of the President of this Republic that the situation in Zamfara is really beyond the control of the governor of the state. And one of the best recommendations one can make is to create a state of emergency, whereby there is a military team that can be able to govern the state, at least for 6 months. But the killings must stop. The kidnapping must stop. And despite all of this, there are increasing death, health-related, all kinds of situations are so bad, so bad. And I'm also taking this opportunity to call the United Nations agencies to at least speak out. They are so, UN is so quiet, other development partners in the country are so quiet, but why? Human life is human life. People are killed, even the way they are killed. They are shot, they are slaughtered, they are cut into pieces, yeah? And then nobody is talking about. Why is the president? The state governor is totally incapable of handling that kind of situation, and he admitted it. So we are here peacefully, we are appealing to His Excellency the President of this Republic to please do the needful, and that needful include establishing state of emergency. We have Minister of Defense from Zamfara, his own area. He cannot go to his own area. So who else can go to other parts of Zamfara state if a Minister of Defense cannot? So we are really making an appeal. We are here peacefully. I know the police here, they're here with their guns and what have you. We are not here to say anything to anybody other than we are saying we need peace. The killing must stop and the kidnapping must stop. How the president is going to handle
to economy, to business.
All right, thank you for joining us on the program today. This is Newspunch coming to you live from Ben Television. My name is Tunde Alabi. It's a pleasure to have you join us on the program today. It's good to see your face after a long time. I haven't seen you guys for some time now. It's good to be back here on the program. I hope you've had some good time with my colleague, Chukwudi Wabuko, who has been standing in for me while I was away in Nigeria doing this job. We enjoyed this job. Was good to be back home just for this time. After now, Chukwudi is going to continue. Today, we'll be going to Zamfara State. This is where I brought from Nigeria. The killings, the maiming, the kidnapping happening all over Nigeria, happening all over the northwest and northeast Nigeria. But lately, Zamfara State has come to the limelight, and people are actually talking about Zamfara State now. We've had protests from almost every corner in Nigeria. People who are concerned in several states have actually come out to demonstrate and show their anger about the situation in several states. So far, what the government has actually done now is to stop mining in Zamfara State as part of the processes to deal with the banditry acts, the criminal acts in the state, because actually, part of the reports that have been uncovered states that the mining processes, either legal or illegal mining processes in Zamfara State, have actually contributed immensely to the criminality in that state. So, one of the steps the government has taken so far is to stop all mining in the state and has ordered all foreigners engaged in mining activities to leave that state. But will that step go far enough to stop the killing? That's what we're looking at today. Why is this government failing in the area of security in Nigeria? Of course, very many people have said President Muhammadu Buhari did not create the situation, but they have said the situation has deteriorated seriously under his watch. Why has government failed? Why has government under the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces in Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, who himself is a retired general, not done enough to deal with the crisis in Borno State. I've got my guest in the studio, Chukwudin Wabuko. Chukwudin, it's been a long time. Thank you for standing in for me. How has it been in my absence?
Well, thank you, Tunde. Thank you for giving me the chance to deputize when you were not here. It hasn't been easy, but with your support, I'll be carrying on.
Oh, you've done a very good job. Thank you for standing in. Well done. And I'm also joined by Engineer Olusegun Opanuga. Engineer Olusegun Opanuga is a social commentator and a political analyst based here in London. He also runs an organization that is called MTDD here in London as well. Engineer Olusegun, thank you for joining us on the program.
Oh yeah, thank you very much indeed. Thank
you. We'll bring you the next clip after this very short interactive session with my guests. You'll see the next clip now. We've got a couple of clips to show you, but we'll stand by the next clip. That clip is going to come up now after this. Let me come to you, Engineer Olusegun Opanuga. I mean, you've been following this government very closely for some time. How would you rate the state of insecurity in Nigeria vis-a-vis what is happening around the country, the state of kidnappings, banditry, in the northern part of Nigeria, the northeast and the northwest, now in Zamfara State, the killings happening every day? How would you describe the situation?
To be honest, we have a very sorry situation in Nigeria. It's very, very pathetic. The high level of insecurity is just too sporadic and is quite high, and we can no longer be seeing things as if nothing is happening. Our concern mainly is on our people, our citizens of Nigeria. Whether we live in UK or we live anywhere across the world, like I always say, it doesn't really matter. The world is getting smaller. What concerns all people in Zamfara, concern people in Lagos State, concern people in UK, in US. So I believe strongly that the president, I know there was a time he was having problem with the Senate and the House of Reps trying to get some money for the military. But we are not here to discuss about things that impede in terms of how he was able to deal with the problem, because the problem is escalating. The Zamfara issue, when I was listening to the news and I was listening to how much people were in total despair, it was, I mean, anyone with human heart will feel that what is going on, what is government doing about this? It should not be a thing that the people have to make so much noise about regarding the security forces we have, who are able, whom we know by virtue of history, that when they go outside Nigeria, they are able to be very professional in their dealings in the time of ECOMOG and everything. But when it comes to Nigeria, they'll be relaxed. So what's going on? Remember, this is a big question that the Chief of Defense Staff or our military chiefs should be answering themselves. That should not be a thing that we should be talking about or dealing with here. It should be a thing that should be a big concern, not only to the president or to any of the governors, but the people that we are put in the state of our affairs to deal with the security issue. The primary aim of our military, enacted in the Nigerian Constitution, is to defend the integrity of Nigeria, either against those external aggressors and within the internal aggressors as well. So the military knows what its obligations and its responsibilities are to Nigerians. It's not about whether President Buhari is the one presiding over the country. It's about the professionalism that is prevalent in the military that we should be talking about.
So they are not being very, very proactive enough.
So you blame the military?
I blame the, yes. We have to be very honest.
Okay, all right. So
yeah.
you think the ball stops on the table of the Nigerian military, the security forces, and not on the president?
It does not stop. Okay, the bulk of the whole thing, in terms of the hierarchy of governance, stop at the table of the president. You are right to say that. But can we blame the president for everything?
Okay, all right. Chukwudi, as the situation is in Nigeria, what are your views? I mean, Engineer Shegun just said, look, we should not blame Mr. President for the state of insecurity in Nigeria. We should blame the security forces, the box stops at their table. What are your views? Do you agree with that?
I don't totally agree with that, because to me, the genesis of the problem in Nigeria today is the total failure of leadership at all levels. Both the failure of political leadership, the military leadership, and all strata of leadership in Nigeria. They have failed Nigerians, because the main reason why you have government in any country or any state is to maintain life and property, to protect life and property. At the time a government has lost that opportunity, or has lost the appetite to protect life and property of the people, that government makes itself irrelevant to the people. Because without security, nothing can be done. Without security, there can be no investment. People cannot live a comfortable life. There will be no prosperity. People will not be able to go to work. Everybody will live, we begin to live under a kind of insecurity. And that pervades Nigeria. It's not just Zamfara. Zamfara just came because it is new. Even yesterday, we heard that in Kajuru, in Kaduna State, people were being slaughtered here and now,
Almost every day in Kaduna State.
Every day it's happening. It's because the one of Zamfara is now being promoted by a media person. She has come out to protest against it, and we are now picking it up. But all parts of Nigeria are facing this kind of insecurity, and we have government at all levels. So to me, it's a failure of leadership. Nigerian leadership has to sit up and talk, and resolve these problems in the country, because where there is no security, nothing functions. Every day we hear of people losing their lives, people going about their normal businesses. They don't know where they will come back. They are hacked down on the road by people they call miscreants, people they call all kinds of killers. And how do you bring investment in that kind of country that it cannot guarantee life and property? It's never done. For example, why I say it's a failure of leadership, we have not had the president come out and condemn in strong terms what is the kind of killings going on in Nigeria. At individual level, at household level, at the societal level, it's happening. Nobody is saying anything, and they're
carrying on as if nothing is wrong.
As nothing is wrong.
Okay, all right. Let's quickly take these video clips now. The second video clip I'm gonna show you. When we watch this video clip, we will come back with a discussion. Don't go away. Let's go and watch this video clip. We'll be back.
My name is Audu Gulam Mukarti, and I am one of the co-conveners. As you will see, this is a group of concerned Nigerians living in the UK. Some of us are students, some are professionals, and some are business owners. We are so concerned with the security situation in Zamfara State, northwestern Nigeria, but also the country generally. And we are totally dissatisfied with the way the President of Nigeria and the federal government are handling the situation. We are very well aware that the situation in Zamfara did not start with President Buhari, but it has alarmingly deteriorated under him. And the actions taken so far, in 2016, he launched Operation Harbin Gunama in Zamfara and in northwestern Nigeria. That did not yield any results. A second operation was launched, and a third one was launched last week. Now, all these operations haven't yielded any results. Since January this year, hundreds of people have been killed, hundreds have been abducted. By some estimate, about 300 people have been abducted, and thousands of people have been displaced from their villages and their towns. There are no facilities on ground to even house internally displaced people, no medical facilities on ground, nothing that a country like Nigeria should provide for its citizens is provided on ground. And that's why we thought, as concerned Nigerians, it is high time we have spoken. And the way we speak is for us to do it in a civil way by bringing a letter to this commission in the hope that it will be handed over to the president of the country. And our call in the letter is clear and simple. We are urging the president to declare a state of emergency under section 305 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic. And one of the provisions under section 305 is that the president is empowered to declare state of emergency where there is actual threat to public safety and public order in the federation or any part thereof. And we are convinced totally that there is total breakdown of public safety and public order in Zamfara state, and only a state of emergency would cure the situation. We think state of emergency will empower the president first to allocate resources that are not budgeted for Zamfara. It will also empower, make the state a high priority, a top priority for government, and make it possible for the president to mobilize all resources possible, all the resources needed to Zamfara, so that the situation may be brought under control. As it is today, Zamfara is a banana republic. No government is in control in Zamfara. Zamfara is under the control of bandits. It is under the control of criminal gangs, and Nigeria cannot afford to continue, allow the situation to continue. It is a bad example for our citizens. It is a bad example for Africa, for the giant of Africa to be out of control. And it is also a bad example for the world. People are being killed. We can't wait anymore. The president must declare his state of emergency. Thank you very much for listening to us. I now hand over this letter on behalf of everybody that's gathered here and every Nigerian that's concerned that is around me.
All right, that was a protest held here in London sometime not long ago. People from Zamfara State protesting and showing their annoyance at the state of killings, state of insecurity in Nigeria, and actually informing the representatives of the Nigeria High Commission there that it appears the government is failing in Zamfara State. But one thing that is actually alarming here in these instances, even the governor at some point, the first time in the history of Nigeria where a governor will come out to say, please, Mr. President, declare a state of emergency in my state. I want to go. I can no longer handle the situation in the state. Yet the government, Mr. President, appears not to have done anything. 1 year after Governor Abdulaziz Abubakar Yari made an appeal that a state of emergency should be declared in his state. The president hasn't done anything. People have protested, citizens, concerned citizens, individuals have protested. Arguments have been raised on the floors of the National Assembly that the state of emergency should be declared in Zamfara State to curb the killings. But it appears the president doesn't show any interest in declaring the state of emergency so far. For whatever reason, we don't know, and the killing hasn't stopped. But the question we are asking today, which you can join us on the program, why is government failing to improve the security situation in Nigeria as a whole, in the northern part of Nigeria, and in Zamfara State? Like Shukude said, the killing, kidnapping, maiming is happening everywhere. In Kaduna State, there's no day you wake up that you will not find a story of communities being razed down and being killed. And that's what we're looking at on the show. You can join us on the program. The number to call is on the screen. Call the number and let's have your views on the show. This is Newspunch coming to you. Let me go to Engineer Panaga. Engineer Panaga, as this stands, who do you think we should hold responsible for this failing?
That's a very, very deep question. When you have a system that is completely comatose, there tend to be this blaming game here and there. I will not be part of those people that will just quickly put myself in that situation and start blaming someone. It's a team.
Shouldn't we blame somebody? Isn't that the problem we have? If people are not taking responsibilities for their actions, don't we have certain people in power, in government, that are saddled with the responsibility of ensuring the security and safety of every Nigerian? And they are.
Well, you have to realize that I know that in the country we live here, United Kingdom, is very structured and very, very ad hoc in terms of how things, deployment of military to any particular area, in any decision making. Nigeria's own is different because there is no professionalism in the way people carry out their duties.
So what should
no accountability.
So if
the inadequacies of the system.
If you are the CEO of a company,
yeah,
and then the people you have employed are not doing their job, or you have a chief security officer you have employed in your company, and then you have bandits coming into your company every day stealing your products, what would you do?
Well, to be honest, based on your analysis, of course, as a CEO, you take a decision. But running the country is not done in that kind of order, because a CEO comes with like a boss, and he gives instructions on what to do. But running the country, you have to consider different interest group. Remember, the president might be considering, based on the inadequacy we have in our military as of today, thinking that if he sends these people to this state and declare a state of emergency, they might even perpetuate more evil than the problem we have now, because we have seen our military has not been disciplined enough in the use of their
so if the Nigerian
military wares.
If the Nigerian military, if what you're saying is right, if you let us assume that the Nigerian military is not disciplined, but we have somebody who is in charge of the Nigerian military in terms of the chief of army staff or chief of defense staff. So if something goes wrong somewhere, there's somebody that can be held responsible. The chief of army staff, chief of defense staff.
Okay.
So if the military is failing, if the personnel is failing, if the people are not doing the job, and then with this killing that is going on, shouldn't the president say, hang on, chief of army staff, why is this happening in the state? Why is this happening in Nigeria? After all, somebody deployed or approved the deployment of soldiers to Rivers State and some other states in Nigeria during the elections, which is not their constitutional responsibilities.
But when you bring emotion into a crisis, you're not going to solve the problem quickly.
But how do you define emotion in this instance?
The emotion.
People have lost their family.
Yeah, the emotion in this area is in terms of decision taking. Remember, how will you feel if they tell you that the money that was meant to go to Zamfara for the management of their state is still not being released by the people in the Senate, or the Senate have not approved certain money for the military? What if these blaming games start coming up? Or the Senate that we appointed there for them to even talk about to represent the people, how much effort are they making in ensuring that things are done in a way? Or if this one you're talking about blaming game, they should be the one calling the military aid or the people in the government that are responsible for Zamfara issue to come on board and face the panel.
So you're saying that the National Assembly should call the chief of defense staff, the chief of army staff, when they are directly responsible to the president?
Yeah, well, to be honest, when you look at the hierarchy of how government is managed, it's bigger than the way you see it. Of course, there's an issue which is not only limited to Zamfara, it's a national crisis. Security issue is a national crisis in Nigeria. Even if, let us wait for our president on May 29th about what his new scheme is going to be for the next 4-year, next level mission that he promised us. The first thing I will expect from that address will be security first. Security first before you can even think about any investment.
Okay, Chukwudi, assistance now. It feels, Engineer Okaniga feels, look, let's not go for the jugular of the president. There are people that should be held responsible. If you look at the structure of governance in government as it is, where will you put the blame?
As I have said before, I said that the failure, the reason for what is happening now is a failure of leadership at all levels.
That's true.
at all levels. Executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Executive because the president, who is number one in Nigeria, who is the chief executive, even if you say CEO, chief executive of Nigeria today, commander-in-chief of the armed forces, is not doing enough. For example, how many people in his government, for almost 4 years now, how many of them have been sacked from office for non-performance, which means he likes what they are doing. If the military chief is not doing anything, the chief of army staff, chief of defense staff are not reacting to what is happening now, what has the president said to them?
And unfortunately, the chief of defense staff is from Zamfara.
Zamfara state. So why can't he be interested
even
in
his own state? He cannot guarantee.
So failure of leadership at all levels. Now, National Assembly has a right to invite the military chief, the chief of defense staff. They have oversight function over the military. They have a department, a committee that oversees the armed forces and defense and things like that. So why not call him to remind him of his duty if he's not performing? That is why I say the failure of leadership at all levels. Because these people at the helm of affairs in Nigeria, if you go to their houses, they are surrounded by almost a troop of soldiers, a troop of policemen guarding them, thinking that it is only them that should be protected in Nigeria. Anybody in his own house on the streets is not guaranteed. Security is not guaranteed. So it's a failure of leadership, and it's seen everywhere. You will get a call from any part of Nigeria, or you see it in the reports. People are being kidnapped. People are being slaughtered. Armed robbers are moving about on convoy. The other time they reported yesterday or 2 days ago, in Ogun State also, some armed robbers went to a bank with a dynamite to open a bank. So after robbing, 6 people were killed. So at all levels of society, there's insecurity. Zamfara is in the news now because there's a harvest of death there, and people have come out to speak because this is now affecting them. All parts of Nigeria, people are killed every day. It is mind-boggling. It is blood-chilling what you see on the streets.
What we are saying. I just came back from Nigeria. What we're seeing in Nigeria is absolutely devastating. Seriously, but. Can you be the president of the country and be comfortable with your people being killed every day, with kidnappings on the Kaduna Road? There are certain times you cannot drive on that Kaduna Road without you being kidnapped by certain people. There are places you cannot drive beyond 6 p.m. in Nigeria. You are not sure of getting to where you're going. In people's houses, people will be killed, armed robbery, kidnapping. So what? As if you were the president, would you be comfortable? Would you sleep at night at all?
To be very honest, I'm not in the heart of the president.
Let's put yourself as the president. That situation, would you sleep?
To be honest, as a leader, you will not. No leader sleeps or is happy.
Okay, let me put
to see their country in complete despair.
All right. Dotun, good evening, Dotun. Thank you for joining us on the program today. Where is Dotun calling from?
I'm calling from London.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us on the program. Could we quickly have your opinion? Thank you, sir. Could we quickly have your opinion on the program?
Yes. Welcome back. Hello.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. If you need to cast your mind back to the time of Nigeria's independence to see why we are in the situation in which we are in now. When the military took over in 1966, it destroyed the old established system with which most Nigerians were used to. And when they were living in 1999, they bequeathed to Nigerians an obnoxious, wasteful, unaccountable American system of government. Before it will be unfair to blame President Buhari for what is happening in Zamfara state, or in any state for that matter, because of the division, because of the separation of powers in the present constitution. It is the responsibility of the state governor to ensure security within the state. And to be able to do so, it has to the police to fall back on first, to police the area, to police the state, and if it comes to the crunch, they can then appeal to the federal government for military support. If, as you said, during the election, the military were present in the river states and other states during the election, and you reckon that was unconstitutional. The reason why that happened was that because, unlike when Jonathan came into office or left office, President Jonathan accepted defeat graciously and left office. The situation whereby you have a president or a presidential candidate who refuses to accept the result of an election is that there is potential for violence. Hence the reason why in certain states, not in all states in Nigeria, in certain states, the government thought perhaps, or the security people thought perhaps it could be right.
All right, okay. All right, Dr. Thank you so much. Thank you for your contribution on the program. That's a good one. Thank you for taking your time to come into the studio. Let's go to our next clip now. We'll bring you the next clip. Let me apologize for the quality of that audio from that telephone. We apologize for that. We hope the next call is going to be clearer when that call comes in. But Dr. thank you for calling into the studio today. Let's go to our next clip. We'll bring our next clip. Then I still have my guests in the studio and we'll continue from there. Don't go away.
At this time of the year, we should have, with all sincerity, be wishing Nigerians across the country compliments of the season, while urging them to go into the new year with renewed hope and vigor. But as you know, we are unable to do that because of the fate of the people of Zamfara and other places who have suffered death and destruction. In other places where security challenges are faced, the people at least have hope, given the improvement that has been reported in their situation, but no such hope for Zamfara State and environs. The turn of events in Zamfara State is as troubling as it is baffling. Here is a state that was so peaceful, it was said to becoming a replacement economic hub for the country that was lost in Borno State axis, where farming and fishing in the Lake Chad Basin have been disrupted by terrorist activities. Today, the same Zamfara State has metamorphosed into a killing field whose unknown killers are now on rampage. We, of course, acknowledge that the state in the past had occasional incidents of cattle rustling and robberies like any other part of the country or even other countries of the world. But the state graduating to banditry on an industrial scale was quite a surprise. But information at our disposal has pointed out that the upsurge in killings in Zamfara have everything to do with the 2019 general elections. There is no point dilly-dallying about what we've found out. The upsurge in banditry is politically masterminded by the Zamfara State Governor, Abdulaziz Yari, because the governor, unfortunately, is supported by some all-progressive Congress members in his camp. These elements who lost out in the primaries are embittered that they are unable to get tickets as candidates. It is no coincidence that bandits have gone on killing spree since they lost out. The Save Nigeria coalition had in the past condemned this kind of behavior in the Northeast, where politicians used the cover of Boko Haram attacks to settle scores. We had also condemned similar situations where the governor of a state in the north-central part of the country set up militias to kill his own citizens and blame it on other ethnic groups because he wanted to create a sense of insecurity in his state so that he can settle political scores as well as cover his theft of state funds. In all instances where politicians created or exploited killer groups to settle scores, the situation later ran out of hand. Too many lives are lost and countless resources are expended to bring the situation under control. Nigerians will therefore not tolerate a situation where politicians, irrespective of whether they lost their primary elections or not, release killers in the guise of bandits to create another security threat for the country. Our coalition would ensure that anyone that fails to heed this timely counsel and is later indicted will be dragged before all courts possible on earth. Our demand to Governor Yari and his supporters in the APC is unequivocal. They need to respect the sanctity of life and call off the killers they have contracted to cause mayhem in Zamfara State without further delay. They must also publicly renounce violence in any guise, in addition to distancing themselves from acts that amount to endorsing violence as the answer whenever the permutation does not favor them. The governors of the neighboring states should continue to do their best to reassure Nigerians that they are not part of the political syndicate that is encouraging bandits to launch attacks against communities in the area. We urge the federal government to step into the situation before it gets out of hand. While the state governor presently enjoys immunity, his aides that do not enjoy immunity and found to be complicit in the banditry-related killings in the state must be shown the full wrath of the law. Again, we warn that we must not have another Boko Haram in the country before steps are taken to bring those behind the carnage in Zamfara to book. We appeal to the international community to call Governor Yari and his associates in the APC to order before it is too late. They must impress it on the federal government that it owes the responsibility of providing security to citizens and that it must live up to this task. The federal government must not allow consideration for their APC membership to slow down the law from running its full course. It is important that the country makes an example of persons indicted of sponsoring violence against its report.
All right, thank you for that video clip that has just been brought to you there. Chukudi, we've seen the problem. This problem does not appear to be limited to Zamfara. It's across, if not the entire Nigeria, the greater part of the northern part of Nigeria, northeast, even north central, including northwest. Very unsafe places now. But the proximity to Abuja now is becoming a threat to the peace in Abuja. We've seen all those problems. If you were to be advising the president, what would you be saying?
I will advise the president. If I was the one advising him, I would tell him to sit up and kind of rejig your security apparatus. The way it is not functional. Apart from the fact that it's really very nauseating, because if you look at the way Nigeria's security architecture is today, it is being headed by the northerners. And insecurity in Nigeria is mainly in the northern states. Zamfara is the northern state, as you have pointed out. The defense minister is from there. And the whole thing is going on, is exacerbating. So I will tell him to rejig his security. Those people are not beyond sack. You appointed them, remove them. If they cannot perform, you remove them. Appoint new ones.
Is the president afraid?
That is,
so many people have said that the president is, he works on loyalty. So if he doesn't trust you, he doesn't want to work with you. Even if you're failing,
yeah,
he will still retain you. He's the president. I mean, it appears to me the first time in 4 years we have a cabinet that has not been reshuffled.
No reshufflement. No reshufflement. That's what I'm saying. That for almost 4 years, no reshufflement. The one that has left was because of maybe pressure. Yeah,
or pressure
like the Minister of Finance. She had a problem with her NYSC. And then what happened to make sure that the Northerners take everywhere, she was made, it was made compulsory that she must go, and then another appointed. So the whole security and that is what we can say today, modernization of Nigerian bureaucracy and everything. They are in charge, and even though they are in charge, things are happening the way it's happening, and nobody is taking responsibility for it. So, if I will advise the president, remember, President Jonathan was removed from office mainly because of what people say was cluelessness. He could not handle the security issue in Nigeria. He was removed because of that. Now, a military man is in power. A former military man, general, is in power. And we are having this level of security in Nigeria. It means it's not fit for purpose. It's not fit to continue.
Your reaction?
Well,
would you agree that the president is not fit to continue? If under his watch,
if you not control
people are dying daily under his watch, the security of the country is deteriorating under his watch, his security officials are not active and able to discharge the responsibility so much that killings, deaths, kidnappings have become a daily routine in the country. Would you agree that the president has failed?
Well, you used one particular keyword, which is fitness. And I'm not going to go back to this issue that pervaded the whole entire election campaign about the fitness and everything. We've moved beyond that level now. We have a president. We have a new election. And we know that the election was not really tagged. Although it was tagged free and fair, but it does not really show to be free and fair. Yeah? And we saw a lot of violence that actually happened during that election as well. So the violence issue had been part of Nigerian system. You understand? Not necessarily perpetrated by the president. When we continue to use the president, maybe, I don't know, it has become a way of life whereby we look at the president as a semi-god, whereby everything is about him. The problem we have in Nigeria today, if president has to sack everybody, has to sack somebody in that system right now, everybody needs to be sacked, including people in the government parastatals. There is a lot of inadequacy in the system that has been caused by endemic corruption in the system for many, many decades. And this has degenerated into a lot of malnourished system, and everything is compromised, to be honest. Even if we have to start dealing with the military right now and start removing Buratai, removing this, removing that, the next person you are going to bring in is going to start looking at another way to come and start making himself feel important again. So not until we have a platform.
So if we remove this set for their failing,
it doesn't
no, wait. We remove the set for their failing.
Yeah.
Yeah? We'll bring in the next set. They fail, we remove them. They fail, we remove them. You think at some point we will not get certain people that will do it right? Will people not be afraid for their job? Will people not want to take their job serious? Will people want to lose their job on the altar of failure?
Okay, but
when they know that their career is at
Thank you, but remember, we have something similar based on what you are proposing in America. Mr. Trump, the President Trump, with all due regard, he sacks A, sacks B, sacks C at his own discretion. But the issue is, it is creating a lot of instability in the system, because look at it from this point of view. We have the head of a particular system. He's already doing his work. All of a sudden, you just came with... Can I finish? If I may come. Can I finish? No, hang on. All of a sudden, you sack him. You bring a new person in. That one too, it was being a little bit imbalanced in terms of how he's delivering. People were criticizing him. You sack that one. You bring another one in. At some point, people will have to ask you a question and say, is there not something wrong with your leadership as well? In terms of sacking...
You think so?
The issue I should be talking about in terms of how we can support, educate, give enough adequate resources needed for anybody put in place, and making sure that we ring fence.
So is it about inadequate?
Sorry, Mr. Tunde, to ring fence the structure.
How do you ring fence the structure?
Thank you. How do you? This is where we are now going. We have a system. Nigeria, whether you like it or not, you can call it, I personally can call it a failed system by virtue of the indices and what I can use to look at how a stable system should be like. Nigeria is a failed country as its country. Now I can try to lower it down by giving them failing system. That means they are failing. They're not failed yet, but they are failing in many, many areas. Now the issue now is, if something is failing, then we need a drastic measure to make it now start becoming more productive. So that is why we have to now bring in a lot of
it appears to me,
structures.
I'm sorry, Engineer,
yes.
it appears to me that as you speak, you've not actually, if you were to ensure that somebody takes responsibility for what is happening, it appears to me you have not actually said this so person, people should take responsibility for the failings in the system.
Thank you.
Because of course, the chief of defense staff will not resign. It is not in the culture of Nigerians to resign. No. The chief of army staff will not go. Somebody will have to stamp his authority on those offices.
Now, thank you very much. How does someone resign from his position?
If he fails.
It's not only by whether he fails. It's a system designed whereby when all the things that you were meant to do as a responsibility has failed by the measure of the structure that has been put around you, or by the
my time is going. Okay. Quickly react before I take the next clip.
I want to address, talking about
in 1 minute
about Trump and Nigeria is not the same. Trump, if you can massage Trump's ego, you go. In Nigeria, it's a different ballgame altogether. We have a case in Nigeria of a government that is not performing in many areas. Particularly, you have seen the issue of security. A president was sacked was removed because of not providing enough security. Another one that replaced him, who Nigerians have entrusted to make their life better, is not doing it on their behalf.
Okay, but I need to go. Let me take this. Okay, maybe we should sign up with this clip. Let's sign up with this clip. All right. Okay, we'll sign up with this clip that is coming on now. Gentlemen, I'm sorry, I need to go now. Thank you so much for just the Engineer Panuga. Thank you for coming on the show tonight. It's a pleasure having you here. Chukwudi Wabuko, you're gonna revert to your seats from next week. Again, thank you for standing in for me, and thank you for always being there. Let's conclude the show with this clip, and I'll see you when I see you again.
President Muhammadu Buhari, what kind of a leader are you? What kind of an insensitive leader are you? People are dying. People are dying in Zamfara. And it seems as if you don't care. You're supposed to be the commander-in-chief. You're the president of this country. You're the one that security, everything about security centrally, it's in your hands. And yet, you're doing nothing. Your election is what matters to you. Re-election is what your business is. The fact that Zamfara has turned into a place where state barrier is being done every day, almost every day, it means nothing to you. All you care about is your re-election. Why then did we vote out the last administration? Was it not because of this insecurity and their insensitivity to the insecurity and the death in the land? And you come on and you do the same thing. You do the same thing. People are being killed on a daily basis. There is a leader who does not care. At your age, your so-called 76 years of age that you are, you still do not know that this word means nothing. Nigeria that gave you everything, you have denied the people of Nigeria all the things that made you what you are today. If the insecurity we have today was during your time and the people who were leaders did nothing, I don't think you will be here today to even be a president. Why are you killing? Why are you killing Nigerians with your lack of action, your lack of competence, your lack of character, and your lack of your cluelessness? It's unfair.
To economy, business, technology, the totality of what makes man is all going to you here on Newspunch. We give you the information that you need, from business to economy, to politics, to technology. And that's all we do here on Newspunch, from the beginning to the end. And that is why we are here. Keep watching Newspunch from Ben Television.